Chap 1. At the very beginning, Aurora says, "Where am I? That's not what I expected." Followed by, "Oh, that's new." Aurora is realizing their physical form has completely changed. That's why they said that. How they got there, still unknown, but what we do know is, when Aurora is talking to Azul while making spaghetti, they mention they are about 14 years old but then admit they don't really know their exact age. Aurora says, "I'm trying to start over anyways." It was a prison. Looking back, this implies Aurora might have escaped from somewhere highly restrictive, or was part of an experiment before falling from the sky into Arcadia. The time jump and relationship with Luz. It is incredibly heartwarming how grateful Aurora is to Luz. Luz giving Aurora his old guitar from storage really solidifies them as true friends. Aurora's fear of being a burden shows how lonely and pushed aside they probably felt in their past life. Encrypted versus everyone. The library incident. When Encrypted forces Aurora into the library prank, he's trying to get into the restricted section while distracting Lumen by dancing behind Aurora's back. Lumen's warning to Aurora to be a little bit firmer next time foreshadows exactly what happens at the training grounds. The training grounds. Aurora explicitly says the climbing wall sounds nice, and Encrypted completely bulldozes over it to show off his archery and accidentally hit Aurora in the face during a forced spar. Aurora calling him out, "Are you sorry, or are you just saying that because you want me to keep sparring?" Was such a well-deserved reality check. Encrypted treats life like a video game playground, completely ignoring that Aurora likes cooking, reading, and music and other stuff. Theory I guess when Encrypted keeps saying probably or rushing things, it feels like a defense mechanism. He's incredibly smart and ambitious. He built a whole training ground and literally invented solar-powered lamps. But because his brain works so fast, he completely bulldozes over social cues. He knows people find him weird, overbearing, or too much. So when he acts overly confident and forces his way into situations, like pushing the library prank or trying to force a spar, he's not trying to be mean or standoffish. In his own clumsy, ego-driven way, he is desperately trying to connect with people. He thinks if I show them this cool thing I can do, they'll want to be my friend. But because he doesn't know how to stop, listen, and just ask, "Hey, what do you want to do?" he ends up accidentally pushing people away, exactly like he did when he hit Aurora in the face. The campfire party and final clues. I forgot her name, but at the campfire, a girl tells a story about a guy that spent weeks locked away in his cellar researching this forbidden magic because he was trying to solve a seemingly impossible problem. In Minecraft lore videos like this, combining redstone, mechanics power, and soul energy usually means someone was trying to create artificial life, bring someone back from the dead, or pull people from other worlds. Also IDK if it was put there, but in the captions kept saying heat. Anyway, we know from the flashback that someone was doing forbidden research. They likely hid their notes on this dangerous soul magic inside that restricted section of Lumen's library. Therefore, someone burning down the library in Chapter 2 isn't just a random act of arson. It could be an intentional move to either steal that soul magic research or destroy the evidence so no one finds out what they did. Chap 2. One of many theories LOL. It's about Encrypted. I don't mean to make it all about him, but something isn't adding up. I have two other prime suspects. Also about Emma, it seems that she's been there a lot longer than everyone else. She seems nice on the surface, but I don't think everyone knows her as well as they thought. There's an extent to lying and persuading, and not many people know that. No one knows Emma on a personal level, but everyone knows she exists. Context. Aurora asks Luz about her. Luz explicitly says, "I don't think anyone really knows anything about her. For someone who has been there the longest and feeds the whole town, being a total blank slate is incredibly dangerous." She has the perfect cover. Background characters. A guy with stripes was seen at the campfire, as well as another guy in a heart hoodie and mask. IDK who that is. Maybe I missed it, but they are my suspects. Let's call M Stripes and Heart Mask. Theory. As Lumen states at the town hall, around 8:11, he is positive he put out all of his candles and lanterns, meaning the library was dark. If Encrypted was sneaking around a restricted area, getting startled and dropping a light source fits his impulsive nature. Running to alert everyone, "There's a fire," would be the perfect way to look like the savior rather than the culprit. Sue the Syot, 41-something. From Encrypted after everyone leaves the meeting room could mean someone drowning in guilt or relief that the meeting is over and no one suspects him. Moving on. Azul and June. Aw come on, why them? Haha IKK. June was introduced much later. Azul seems fine. But hear me out. Blue's fire knowledge. When Blue explains how a brewing stand works, 28 hours and 54 minutes, he explicitly notes that its power source, blaze powder, is an activating agent collected from leftover fires and cooling embers. He knows exactly how heat behaves and how to harvest it. That doesn't mean anything, but who could have taught Azul that? Maybe he found it in books, but even so still sus. June's separation. June is highly technically minded, keeping to herself in her lab. 1549. Now the peacekeeping strat. Miss Nee is heading back to the library ashes to hunt for physical evidence like fuses or fire starters. Aurora is heading east past the training grounds to scout the mysterious beach house. 39 hours and 56 minutes. To see if it belongs to France. June has been tasked with keeping a watchful eye on Encrypted. 39 hours and 32 minutes. Even though Luz claims Encrypted isn't an official suspect, he recognizes that Encrypted has the potential to make himself a problem later. Like, sure, yeah, that's a great plan, but it also puts them at risk. Why at risk? 'Cause while they're all planning on their own, they are making it incredibly easy for the real culprit to pick them off or cover their tracks one by one without the others knowing until it's too late. Now about the weird entity in that black space in Aurora's dreams. Remember, Aurora literally fell from the sky into Arcadia, has no real memory of their past, and feels like they escaped a prison. The weird guy entity in the headspace of Aurora, he says, you know about as well as I do that you should be dead right now. No way around that for you, but I can send you somewhere else. Look over there for me real quick. Can you hear it? The song singing from the fire. It's calling your name. This implies that Aurora's entire existence in Arcadia is a second chance granted by a potentially cosmic dangerous entity. Aurora didn't just escape a physical prison. They might have narrowly escaped death itself. And Arcadia is the somewhere else they were dropped into. That's a long shot TBH, but you're still reading, so you're obviously interested in my BSLOL. About the heat shit I mentioned in Chap 1. Somewhere up there, upwards pointing arrow. If the entity tells Aurora to listen to the song singing from the fire, and the fire is calling Aurora's name, then the constant whispers of heat, might literally be Aurora's subconscious remembering how they got here, or a warning that their past is catching up to them. Clearly something reels Aurora to the fire. Chap 1. I understand Aura. I'ma just say Aura. His actual name is hard to spell. Okay. Needed heat to feel warm, but he did look at the fire for some time before playing it off by looking at loose ace books. It's like his subconscious recognizes the fire, even if his brain doesn't fully understand why yet. Okay, now at Chap 2. After the whole thing about arson, Aura looks at the campfire where he had his party. Follow closely now. Every time Aura is near a fire source, it acts like a trigger for his forgotten past, pulling him in. He's trying so hard to build a normal, quiet life in Arcadia, cooking, playing guitar, hanging out with Luz, etc., but the elements themselves are constantly whispering to him, reminding him that he's tied to whatever that entity did to save him. Ready to hear some more shit? IDK, this all sounds good to me. Chap 3 and 4. You're France and the beach house that Aura will be investigating alone. Mind you, alone. A timid kid. At the beach he might encounter someone who wouldn't reveal themselves if others were present. Or Aurora learns something about themselves. You're Miss Nee. She's safe for now. I ain't got nothing for her. You're the masked background characters. Stripes and Hard Mask. I ain't got nothing yet. Motives. So far unknown. I'm not saying Encrypted is 100% guilty. I'm just saying it's easy to suspect him because he's the only character we've seen constantly pushing boundaries around Lumen, especially with the library pranks. At the same time, Lumen seems to tolerate those antics, which suggests they're fairly close. That makes me question whether Encrypted is actually being set up as an obvious suspect. Even his sigh after the meeting could have simply been relief rather than guilt. Not completely bull, but I still think it's probably bull. I completely forgot that Lumen left the meeting early, and Miss Nee immediately followed him to check on him. At first, I thought Lumen left because he was uncomfortable with Luz's investigation plan. Maybe he didn't want to be involved, but still wanted to hear what Luz had come up with since it was his plan. Part of me feels like Lumen already knows Luz's plan won't work, though I can't really explain why I think that. There are other possibilities too. He's overwhelmed because the library was his responsibility. He feels guilty, even if he isn't responsible for the fire. He simply needed a moment alone after losing something so important. Miss Nee also comes across as emotionally intelligent. Instead of staying focused on the investigation, she notices Lumen's emotional state and checks on him. One thing I'll be watching for in future chapters is whether Lumen starts withholding information. There's a difference between someone grieving and someone deliberately avoiding certain topics. Another thing I found interesting is Aurora choosing the name Aurora despite claiming they don't remember anything about themselves. Symbolically, an Aurora represents a new beginning, hope after darkness, something beautiful yet mysterious, a bridge between two worlds. Aurora literally fell from the sky, so if they're connected to something supernatural or cosmic, the name could be subtle foreshadowing. Technically, an aurora isn't fire. It's a natural light display caused by charged particles interacting with Earth's atmosphere. Even so, it resembles glowing ribbons of flame. To me, the most interesting part isn't the meaning of the word. It's the fact that Aurora instinctively chose that name despite supposedly having no memories. That suggests something about their identity, whether it's subconscious memory, the mysterious entity's influence, or something else entirely. Arcadia is also an interesting name. Traditionally, Arcadia represents an idyllic paradise, a peaceful place where people escape hardship and begin again. That seems to fit Aurora's goal of leaving their past behind. However, the story also makes it clear that Arcadia isn't as perfect as it first appears. Between the forbidden research, the library fire, and everyone's hidden pasts, there's clearly something darker beneath all that. Aurora wants a fresh start. Arcadia appears to offer one. Yet every encounter with fire seems to pull Aurora back toward a past they can't remember. Prediction: I think the researcher from the campfire story may turn out to be Emma's father. There's no direct evidence yet, but if that's true, it could explain why Emma has lived in Arcadia longer than almost everyone else, why nobody seems to know much about her personally, and why she might already know about the Forbidden Soul research. Unanswered questions. Aurora: who were they before Arcadia? Why were they supposed to be dead? Why did they instinctively choose the name Aurora? Why does fire seem to draw them in? Are the heat whispers coming from Aurora, the entity, or something else? The library fire, was it an accident or intentional? If intentional, what was the real target? Was someone trying to steal the soul research or destroy it? Why burn the entire library instead of taking one book? The entity, who is it? Why did it save Aurora? What does the song singing from the fire actually mean? Can it interact with anyone besides Aurora? Lumen: what exactly was in the restricted section? Does he know more than he's saying? Why did he leave the meeting? Emma: why does nobody know much about her? Why has she been in Arcadia so long? Is she connected to the researcher? Arcadia: why do all these people end up here? Is Arcadia a normal town or something else? Is it actually safe? Things to watch for: Aurora reacting strangely to fire again. More heat. Captions. Lumen avoiding certain questions. Emma recognizing information she shouldn't know. Encrypted's behavior around restricted areas. France and the beach house. The masked characters appearing again. Any mention of soul magic or resurrection.